Race 2 of the 40th anniversary weekend for the DTM at the Norisring, and it was Nicky Team who started on pole position, his teammate Mirko Bortolotti alongside. It was a good clean start into the first turn, the Grundig turn, the hairpin that Nicky Team led his teammate in, but already Mirko Bortolotti was coming under pressure from Mauro Engel, the Mercedes driver, enjoying his 100th race in the DTM and looking very racy indeed from his P3 starting position. These modern-day gladiators were extracting everything that they could from the track, running close to the wall. Teammates Sheldon van der Linde and Marco Wittmann were fighting over 11th place. Marco Wittmann with his nose just in front. Joining them just behind was René Rast. It started at the absolute back of the grid, having taken a grid penalty, but the three Schubert Motorsport BMWs all running together. Kelvin van der Linde pitted early for his mandatory stop, but came so close to Mauro Engel, who joined in front of him. It was investigated by the race stewards, but they decided it was not an unsafe release, despite the protests of Kelvin van der Linde. Mirko Bortolotti was next to pull the pin, he also having his mandatory stop. The drivers having to weave in slightly cooler conditions than yesterday to generate heat in the tyres after the stop. Looking back from Mirko Bortolotti's perspective, Mauro Engel had gained during the pit stop sequence, is now pressuring for what would become a net second place. Out of turn one on the inside line, Mirko Bortolotti giving plenty of space for the 130 car. He did fight back though into the Scholar S, but eventually it was going to be Mauro Engel that would steal the position away, and with the pit sequences done, that would be worth a second place. Further back, the racing was a little bit more hands-on with Kelvin van der Linde and Jack Aitken getting together. Kelvin van der Linde collecting the barrier, spinning around. He had to rejoin. He was not happy. Our race leader, Nicky Team, into the pits. He makes his stop. That hands the lead to Arjun Maini. Also René Rast out of the pits. Whilst others had been fighting, Rast had just been gently getting on with the job and was working his way up through the field from that back row starting position. Mirko Bortolotti worked his way past whilst René Rast was generating heat in the tyres. Mauro Engel was breaking clear ahead of Mirko Bortolotti. Arjun Maini soon came into the pits as well. It left Ricardo Feller in the lead and Thierry Vermeulen in second place, but Feller was still going to have to stop. René Rast was going door to door with Lucas Stoltz. It was BMW versus Mercedes. That was for 7th place. It would be worth a 5th place once everybody had pitted. Arjun Maini also fighting with Mirko Bortolotti. The cameras on Mirko Bortolotti catching the moment that Arjun Maini goes deep into the corner, surrendering the position. Suddenly there was debris on the track. We were going to need a safety car to get it removed. The debris came from contact between Ricardo Feller and Marco Wittmann. Once again, the green BMW in the wars. Once again, the green and white BMW shedding bits of bodywork and a headlight. The safety car changed the dynamic of the race with all of the gaps closing up. Suddenly, Nicky Team had Mauro Engel and his teammate Mirko Bortolotti breathing very closely indeed. Then it was Arjun Maini and René Rast. Rast in turn coming under pressure from Lucas Stoltz behind. Defending champion Thomas Preining challenging Sheldon van der Linde for position. The two former champions going side by side, but eventually it went in the favour of Thomas Preining. Next up the road was Lucas Stoltz, and Preining getting his elbows out and muscling his way past with less than a minute of the race remaining. But Nicky Team had it all under control. He exited the final corner to win race 8 of the season. His first ever race win in DTM, emulating his father who did the very same thing many years ago at this same track.
Save fuel as much as you can. Save fuel. Slow down, and we have two cool down laps.
It was a 1-3 for SSR Performance with Mirko Bortolotti holding on to that 3rd place, but it was emotional scenes for Nicky Team as he climbed on the roof of the Lamborghini. The Viking is a race winner in the DTM. Mirko Bortolotti congratulating his teammate Mauro Engel celebrated his 100th race in the DTM with a second place. A solid drive from Arjun Maini in fourth. Rene Rast in that fifth place, closing in on the championship leaders. And the championship leader coming into this weekend, Kelvin van der Linde, 10th place, meant that he surrendered that championship lead to Mirko Bortolotti. It's the halfway point of the season. The championship is on a knife edge.